What up, everybody? It's your boy Young Fizz, and welcome back to another tutorial. Today we are back inside the machine, and I just want to show you guys some of the things that I do in order to make some great records. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get into some of the mixing techniques and some of the plugins and that I use inside a machine internally. All right, so the first thing in making this beat, I started with the organ here. So let's go ahead and take off all the plugins from the organ. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit tab. That's gonna switch me over to the mixing window view. And we're just gonna click, 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 and click. And let's listen to the Omnisphere organ dry. I'm gonna hold down Option and I'm gonna hit spacebar. That's gonna start me from the beginning. So that means I could be over here, hold down Option and spacebar, and again, I'm on the Mac. So that is the organ dry. I'm using Omnisphere. Let me go ahead and pop it on the screen here so you guys can see exactly what I'm using. It's called Mucus and Pipes right there, Omnisphere. All right, so the first thing I went ahead and did, I said, you know what? I want to add some space to it, so I added this reverb. Keep in mind, I'm on the Sounds tab, and I'm just adding the reverb right on the Sounds tab because when I print the track, I want it to have the effect already on there. I don't want the engineer to add their own reverb to it, or they may end up doing it if they feel it needs more. So, but already right out the box, I want to add that nice reverb on the actual track, so when it prints, so it sounds something like this here. And as you can see, I'm just dialing in just a little bit. It's a big room. I'm cranking up the low end, cutting some of the high end. You got to pan a little bit to the right, and then just like I said, mixing just a little bit, just a hint of the organ actually being in a room. All right, so the next thing I went ahead and did was added a lo-fi plugin. So we're gonna cut that on by clicking it there. And this plugin, like I said, guys, these are all internal effects here. I'm using the Metaverb here. The lo-fi is located inside of Maschine as well. You go to internal, and I'm using the lo-fi right down at the bottom. So I'm using that. So let's go ahead and give that a listen. I might be tripping, but I feel like it just adds some little bit of grit in there and just kind of, smooth things out and makes it sound kind of dirty at the same time. So let me turn it on and off. Like I feel like it just kind of lowers the quality just a tad bit. It's so subtle that you don't even notice it. So that's that plugin there. So I'm gonna scroll down here. And if Native Instruments watches my videos, one of the features I wish they would do is if I could just resize this little window here. I can't see all my plugins, so I just have to click here and scroll down. And to me, that can get annoying. But, thankfully we have a workaround. We just hit tab and we can go over here to the mixing window view and can just cut these on and off. So either way it works, but, to be editing in this view and just kind of, hear your plugins, or see all your plugins here, that would be nice. Give me more real estate. Of course, like I said, we can adjust it here, but nothing happens. I don't think there's any type of secret where I can adjust it here. So, but anyway, let's go ahead and add the distortion here. So that's more of some more grit, and we're just adding a lot of volume to it. So let me play it with it on and with it off. So let's go ahead and hit here. So I'm just basically adding a little distortion just to bring it up, the level up a little bit, and to make it sound a little bit dirtier. And then lastly, I'm taking out some of the bass with the EQ. This is a Waves EQ, so I'm gonna go ahead and pop it on the screen so you can see my settings here. I'm rolling off the lows and I'm rolling off some of the highs. I just want it to sound, dirty. So let's go ahead and play that. And let's do it before and after here. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, why would you take out some of that bass and some of that low end when it sounds better with it in? Well, that's true, but in mixing, what you want to do, you want to do something called frequency separation, and that's basically separating all the frequencies out into its own little category. So because I know I'm gonna be having a subwoofer in this track, I don't need that low end in the organ there. That's gonna be using up energy, that I could be using for my 808. All I really want is that mid-range sound for the organ. Enough where it can, so you guys can tell that, hey, this is an organ or some kind of organ pad playing. So I cut that out on purpose. So let's listen to that again. It may be much. I mean, we can roll it back just a tad bit, maybe around 125, but I think it sounds good. You don't want to do it too much. Let's listen again. I mean, right around there sounds pretty good to me, so we'll go ahead and leave it right there. All right. So that's the Waves REQ plugin. And let's see, so let me go ahead and show you guys the bass next. So in the build here, I have the bass that comes in. And this is what I'm pretty much talking about. It's an Omnisphere bass. Let me go ahead and show you guys the patch right there. And that's what I kind of want to hear. So let's go ahead and listen to that solo. And so what I'm gonna do a right click on the number 2 here. And that's gonna solo that up. Let's play it. So the frequency that I cut earlier on, I'm adding it right back, but using an actual bass here. So this is just, like I said, an Omnisphere bass, and I'm using the bass to replace the other bass, if that makes sense. So let's play them together. I'm gonna start from right here. Here we go. So I'm just adding that little mid-rangey bass, the low mids of the bass back into the track. No plugins on the bass yet. Sounds cool. All right, so the next thing I want to go ahead and get into is going to be the drums. So let's go back here. I'm going to click that off, do a left click, and then we're going to right click the drums. And let's listen to what the pattern is doing. So let's start from the beginning. And let me take off all my plugins here, just on the sounds tab. And we can take off the group tab, take off the plugin on the group tab, which does the Metaverb. All right, so let's listen to what that is sounding like here. All right, so that's what the pattern is sounding like so far. Okay, so let me go ahead and go further and let me like really break this down for you guys. Okay, so let's deal only with the kick. And the kick comes in on the verse right here. So let's play that. So a nice, punch in the kick. Now, all I'm really doing, I'm just adding an EQ to it. This is one of my favorite EQs, is the API 560 from Waves. And as you can see, I'm adding a lot of 63 hertz here. I'm adding a little bit around 3.2 on the 125, 3.1, 1K, some mid-range. I'm just trying to give it some punch with the kick because, mind you, I'm gonna have an 808. So let's play it with and without. So without it, it's hitting a little bit harder, but that's not the tone I'm going for. So I'm basically using the EQ to tone it down a little bit and boosting the frequencies that I want to hear in the track. So let's hear it again. All right, so that's the kick. And let's take a look at the snare. Pretty much left it raw. All right, so let's listen to what the hi-hat's doing. So that is the hi-hat pattern there. So let's take a look to see what I'm actually doing with the velocity. So one of my favorite things to do with the velocity is to do like an up and down to make it feel like a real player is actually playing the hi-hat. A lot of times people have this smash to the grid up here all the way at 127. I like to kind of go in here and bring each individual down to make it have a little bit of swing. And when you actually have some swing to it, it actually makes it sound a little bit better. But I like the way that the hi-hat just goes, you know, it sounds really dope, you know, in my opinion, like that. And so what I went ahead and did was add a flanger just to give it some effects to it, add some effects to it, some finesse to it. And I just wanted to dirty it up a little bit, so I added this filter as well. And the hi-hat is just swinging away. Then I have an open hat, as you just heard. Then I have another kick, raw kick, another snare. And that's just on the 2 and the 4, I believe. 2 and the 4. So you'll hear the snare, 2 and the 4. Let's mute these ones here. Started from the verse. Again, no effects, just adding that extra little snare sound. Open hat. Just a little tambourine hit here. Real magic comes in with the 808, which is down here. And that starts playing, I believe, in section A here. So let's listen to that by itself. Did a right click on it to solo it up, and let's play. So real simple groove. What am I doing with the effects? Well, it's called Sour 808, but basically I'm using the internal sub and I just kind of tuned it to the tune of the track, the pitch of the track. So I'm using the kick. And let's see, drum synth, kick. And then I'm also using, so let's listen to the kick, how it sounds before I added the effects. So you can come in here and adjust, like I said, the tune, which is going to be kind of pitched it up or down, how long you want it to hold for, which is the decay. So like, say for example, we're going to put this on loop mode here. So if I turn, so right now the decay is at 100%, but let's go ahead and see what it sounds like when I turn it down. And then you can add like the color to it. And then the amount. All right, so the engine I'm using, like I said, is the sub. And there's different settings here you can use, try them out for yourself, experiment with them, different kicks and stuff like that. All right, so the next thing I want to go ahead and show you guys is the saturation plugin. Again, this is all machine stuff that I'm using because a lot of people, sometimes they feel like they need to go out and run and get the latest, you know, like the sausage fattener and just all these different plugins, you know, a lot of times you'll hear about, but you really don't need that stuff. That stuff is the same thing inside a machine, and it's simpler to use. And say for example, if you don't have, you know, you transfer systems, you may not have those plugins, but inside the Maschine, you're always going to have this plugin. So you go to internal, and it's the last one here, Saturator. And that just really beefs it up. So let's play it. All right, so that sounds good to me. So, you know, we're rocking with it. The next thing I want to go ahead and show you guys is the filter. So if you guys heard, I'm just basically taking that little click away at the beginning. I'm cutting off the you know, at 1 kilohertz here, and I'm just taking away the click. So let's listen with the click. You can kind of hear the click at the beginning or the attack. And with the filter on, it just kind of masks that. And that's pretty much the 808. So when you put all those instruments together, this is what you have. All right. Last but not least, with the drums, I felt like it needed to be in a room. So in the group section here, I just added a Metaverb. Now, as you can also see here, I added a transient master, and that's just to give it some attack. And this plugin is dope, guys. Like, if you guys haven't used this plugin or checked it out, you guys really need to check it out. Again, this is all in Maschine. Like, it's just dope. You know, I feel like Maschine is just underrated. You know what I mean? Because people don't really, you know, use this stuff, but it's all here right in front of your face. I definitely, you know, recommend that you guys just go out and really experiment with the Maschine. Learn everything that you can about the Maschine. I have tons and tons of videos on here. And, you know, just go check it out. So check out this Metaverb here. %30 on the room. Just a taste of reverb. Low end left alone, boosting some of the high end, pan right up the middle. Let's listen to it exaggerated. Use it in moderation, guys. As you can hear it, this reverb is very powerful. It's one of my favorite reverbs. I use it pretty much on every track. I kid you not. Any track that I use in Maschine, you're probably gonna see the Metaverb. It's one of my favorite reverbs, you know, in the Maschine. So that's just what I do. All right. So far I've talked about the drums. I've talked about the instruments. Let's talk about some of the effects. Simple. Just a little crash. Left it alone. Nothing in the group. Got some extra hats that come in the hook over here. Let's listen to those by themselves. So I'm just going to right click on D1 and play it. So just simple stuff, you know, just straight pattern. Just giving it that little extra flavor. Because I got some hats going in the drums up here. And that's another secret. A lot of times you don't hear this stuff until, or you know, a lot of times you don't hear it until someone actually breaks it down. And so by watching this video, this is the kind of stuff I'm trying to show you guys is, you know, you can learn a lot from production and mixing at the same time because it just goes hand in hand. Because without this extra layer, this is how it's going to sound here. The beat's bouncing, it sounds cool. But this hi-hat here is really emphasizing what I'm doing with the hi-hat in the drums up here. So it's like a metronome, just tick, 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 tick. Got this hi-hat panned a little bit to the right. I want to pan a little bit to the left. And that's just the hi-hat section. Nothing on the, like I said, nothing on the group. And like I said, last but not least, let me go ahead and show you guys the effects. I'm gonna close out here. So the effect that I'm using, let's take a look at this section here. So I have an R bass. I'm using EQ, internal compressor, transit master. Like I said, I don't use too much of third-party plugins, even though I have so much access to them in Maschine. I love what's inside the Maschine. You know, it provides you with everything you pretty much need. Like, you don't need anything else. You know, if you're just trying to get your basic idea out, add that saturation, that's all you need is just basic plugins. So let's go ahead and first of all, let me talk about what I'm doing here. So I created another group, and I do this a lot. It's called E1, or it's on group E1, and it's called effects. What I went ahead and did on the sound tab, inserted an R bass. So you're probably asking me, what is this for? This is for mainly the 808. So let's go back to the drum group up here. Let's look at the 808 soloed. All right. So let me play it without the effects and with the effects. Let's mute this. It's that secret sauce, guys. $1 million tricks right here inside a Maschine. That's all you got to do. So let's look at what I did with this, and then, like I said, I'm going to be done. So let me start here with the drums. So what I went ahead and did, and if we go to the channel tab here, I got my output selected, and up here you're going to have audio, aux, MIDI. We want to be in the aux tab. So the same thing in any other DAW, Maschine does it, but it only lets you use 2 auxes. I wish they would let you use more. Don't ask me why, but it would be nice if Maschine was to let you use more than just 2 auxes, because you can really get crazy with the effects. And that's the whole name of the game, is input output. So I have the aux, which is this one here, sending out into the effects. And let me show you guys what I have here. So E1 into S1. All right. So basically I have just another little channel here, an aux track. You can't even see the aux track, but it's going out of this here, and it's feeding E right here on my FX. Let's go back to the plugin tab. All right. So the first thing that it's doing is going to hit the R bass. So let me turn off all the other plugins and let you listen. So all I'm doing is adding the R bass, then it's hitting an internal EQ right from Maschine, internal EQ right there. All I'm really doing, taking out some of that low end, because I already have that low end in there. So why would I want to add more low end? I already have it in there. So all I'm gonna do is just cut it and just get that mid-rangey, that bite to the 808, so it can cut through on, you know, speakers like Apple AirPods or, you know, your laptop speakers, whatever, you know. So let's listen to that. And I'm just compressing the mess out of it. So let's look at the compressor. Making sure it just punches. And then to ensure that punch, I'm adding that transit master. Got the limiting feature just to take away some of that, so it can punch more, but take it back just a little bit. Because mind you, I have a kick that's going too, so you don't want to clutter it up too much. All right, so when you put the whole thing together, let's go ahead and play everything together. And that's pretty much the beat. You know, it starts off with the organ. Yeah, was it luck? Was it luck? Was it got? Was it got? Yeah. That's it on the yeah. On the bands on the that's it. When I come through the day, yeah, wait, yeah. So just throw some vocals on it and you're done. That's the beat. I didn't get into arranging on this video because I have other videos on arranging. If you guys really want to know how that works, I'm gonna leave a link down in the description below to that video. So make sure you click that link if you want to check out the videos on arranging. And if you guys have any questions, man, just leave your comments down below. You can reach me via Instagram, Mr. Dope Status. All the links are gonna be in that description box below. So make sure you view that below. It's your boy Young Fizz. I want to thank y'all for watching. We'll see you next time.